Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another Mike Needler music lesson. Today we are talking about diatonic, what it means and why it's important. So in order to get started, we'll just define it. So the term diatonic means one key. So what does that mean? It basically means that all the chords within the song are in the same key signature. So one of the very few drawbacks with the guitar is that it's kind of hard to visualize things on the guitar. So I usually have my students think about a piano. So if you think about a piano, think about from C to C, just all the white keys. So that's the C major scale. So to build diatonic chords in that scale, so we have C major, C, E, G. It's always the 1, the 3, the 5. So we have C, E, G, then we go to D, D, F, A. That makes D minor. Then E, G, B. That makes E minor. F, A, C, F major. G, B, D, G major. Technically G dominant 7 if we start getting into 7th chords. And so on and so forth. All of those chords are diatonic. They use all the same notes. There's no sharps, no flats in that instance. It's just kind of a fancy term for everything belonging in one key. So, why does that matter? A vast majority of songs, especially pop and rock and blues and funk and soul and R&B, I'd say probably 85% of music is in diatonic progressions. So if you know that most songs are diatonic and you're trying to figure out, say, a progression in a song or how to improvise on a song, if you can just figure out where one of the chords are, all the rest kind of fall into place. So here's another example. So if we had something like D major, C major, G major, Sweet Home Alabama, for example. D, C, G, basically, the whole song. A lot of beginner students would think the first chord is D, it must be the key of D. While you can kind of get away with improvising in D, you're gonna have trouble with the C to C sharp because you have the C chord, and if you're playing in D major, you have that C sharp. So it's gonna clash right there, and it's gonna be gross. However, if you understand diatonic chords and diatonic progressions, you would know that there's only one place in the diatonic progression where there's two major chords next to each other, D major and C major. And that's the 5th and the 4th. And then G major is the root. So it's in the key of G major, not in the key of D major. A lot of songs will start with the first chord being the one chord, what the key is in, but not always. And if you understand that construction, you understand where things line up, you can see and figure out by process of elimination what key you would want to improvise in. So that might have been a little long-winded, but hopefully that made sense. So on top of that, the more familiar you become with the sound of diatonic and having everything be in a diatonic progression, it helps you hear when something isn't, or helps you maybe want to write something that breaks out of the diatonic, and that can be some of the coolest sounding stuff if you do it right. My favorite example that I teach students, Let's Stay Together by Al Green, the verse specifically. It's got an F major 7, to D minor 7, all still in the key. F major is the key. Then, so it goes to B flat major 7, which still fits. But now here, it breaks out and it goes to D flat major 7. And from there, it goes back into the diatonic. But when it breaks out right there, it really catches your attention and it sounds so cool. When you understand diatonic, you understand how you can work in and out of it. Like, you can write really interesting stuff like that. I hope this helps. It was kind of just a brief little overview. I had a couple students asking me about this over the last week, so I thought I'd just make a quick video on it for anyone else that would want some clarification. Moral of the story, it's just a fancy name for saying it all belongs in the same key. As you're approaching improvisation, especially as a fledgling improviser, diatonic progressions are probably where you'll want to stay for a while, because I find it easiest, I'm sure everyone finds it easiest to solo in diatonic progressions because you only have to think about one key. Whereas, you know, like some of the crazier jazz tunes will deviate the key. Even something pretty simple like Herbie Hancock's Cantaloupe Island. It goes from F minor 7 to C sharp dominant 7, or D flat, depending on how you want to think about it. And then to D minor 7, and then back to F minor 7. Now, those chords are not diatonic at all. So you have to take a bit of a different approach with jazzier songs like that. For majority of pop and rock and blues, and the majority of what you'll hear on the radio is diatonic. And the more familiar you can get with it, the better off you'll be. And the more trained you'll be to hear when it breaks out of diatonic, and then you can figure out what it is from there. Anyway, I hope this helps. Appreciate you guys for sticking with me. I'm gonna try to get better and better every time. Hopefully this is a slight step better than the last one, but we'll see. Anyway, I will catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.